Hi everyone, and welcome to our penultimate shark video. I hope the sharks are still interesting for you. This particular one has no coral on him, and nor does the last one actually. That seems really have one coral one on this page. So we've got a lot of leaf work to do. So let's get started with that. This is going to be a brown shark. I'm going to use light green for my first leaves, and I'm going to do this long sort of bit of leaves. I'm going to put it on quite thickly because it's quite a pale colour, so it shows up, and work right through. It goes all the way through the whole shark actually, this bit, so we need it to sort of show up a little bit and work right through. So we're going to use our sort of light greens, leaf greens, that sort of thing on this one. I haven't decided on all of them quite yet. I usually start with the grass, don't I? I've done it a bit differently. That's okay. Oh, I hope you're all good today. I'm feeling well and happy, hopefully. If not, I hope you feel better soon. Hope the weather's okay as well where you are. It's that time of year in my hemisphere anyway, where it's quite cold, and people start feeling a bit low because there's not a lot of sunshine, etc. But hopefully it's okay. I find that taking my vitamin D really helps me to feel a bit better. Use the leaf green, and I'm going to use it for the grass. In fact, I think I did that on the one on the other page, but it's going to be the same. Never mind. Yeah, I find because vitamin D is the vitamin that is made from sunshine on the body, and at this time of the year we're really depleted in it. Because even if you go out in sunshine, it's the wrong type of light in the winter, so I understand. So it's best to supplement, but obviously you need to check if you're on any other medication, or even if you aren't, check first to make sure it suits you if you've got medical conditions and things like that. I'm not trained, I can't just say go and take it. It's always wise to speak to a pharmacist first. But apparently doctors in the UK are mainly encouraging us to take vitamin D through the winter, so that we don't lose it, because a lack of vitamin D can mean that your immune system isn't so good. So that means you're more likely to pick up your coughs and colds, other viruses, and that's not very nice, and that can get us down. Now, having a cough that you can't shift, or a cold, it cannot be very nice. So yeah, so have a look into that. But as I say, check first. If you've got a medical condition or are on any other medication, it just might not work for you. Grass green I'm going to use for this long one. I'm going to go all the way down the middle first, but also if there is some sunshine, make sure you enjoy it. So if you can't get out and about, if you can get out and about, it's good to go out in it and you will feel better. If you can't go out and about, sit by that window, have a look out, or sit in the garden if you've got one on your balcony. Just something. Go to a friend's house and sit in their garden. I know it's cold, but or just enjoy it, look at it, and that might help you feel better. And I know some people benefit from a special lamp with light that helps them get through the winter. I can't think what they're called, but that's another option. Some people use them as alarm clocks and things like that. But I know they're not cheap. But it's always worth looking at the scientific evidence to see whether they really do work before buying something like that, which is really expensive. Whereas if you just sit by the window or go out in the sunshine, it's not going to cost you any money. It's unlikely to do you any harm. So that might be a better thing to try. Now, our shark. I'm thinking, our last one, what did we use? We used raw umber and nougat. Let's use something a little bit warmer, more yellowy. I'm thinking let's start with a green gold. and then put a slightly darker colour on top. So a bit of a different shade. Just looking at my camera. It's fine. I don't know. I thought it flashed, but I don't know if it did. I'm sure it's fine. Sometimes numbers appear on the screen. Sometimes little squares. If it thinks it can see a person, it wants to focus on them. So it puts a little square on the screen so that you can touch the screen to say, yep, follow this person. So you can, it's designed for like moving around, so it can keep that person in focus all the time. It was interesting. I was actually watching a advert the other day, and basically it was a car advert, and I noticed that how the car was in the centre of the screen, not for the whole advert. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, there was someone there, but they hung up before they spoke to me, so I don't know what was going on. Anyway, so I noticed how the car in this car advert was kept in the centre of the screen the whole time, and I thought to myself how clever that was. How do you do that? I mean, do you have a special camera that can move so that it keeps that object in the centre all the time? Because, you know, obviously I do filming, I'm filming this, but my camera's still on a tripod, and I have to think about getting the picture in the centre of the screen. I don't think my camera can do that, move itself. That's awfully clever. So I was wondering, do they do that? This bit of here, I don't know if I coloured it or not. Oh, my pencil's running away. I'm just gonna, there we go. So I thought that's awfully skilled, if that is what they do. I assume it is. That's very clever. I guess that's what you get when you're a trained cameraman, which I'm clearly not. But my boys are telling me they're up with all the latest YouTube videos. Oh, they're so professional. They have professional teams making them, because they're almost like a TV production level thing. I'm like, I know, but you know, I'm not. I haven't got multi-millions of subscribers, and therefore no. But I don't think it needs to be that sort of quality necessarily. I think it needs to be clear enough for you to see, which I hope it is. Hence why I've got this camera, which is better than the one I used before. I think it doesn't need to be scripted. Apparently some videos are scripted, and every time the person says they stop and they re-record because they want it to, but I want it to be more spontaneous than that. So I think it's just a different thing. I don't think you're expecting to switch on and watch a documentary, you know, perfectly narrated, fact checked and whatever. Now I'm choosing my next brown. I think, yes, I'm gonna go for this one that wants to roll away. It is the Burnt Sienna. So it's quite an orangey brown. I think it'll work well with this gold. So I'm gonna have to put it on quite lightly though, because it can be quite dark. And I don't want it to be too, I want it to blend into the other one. So if you think it's a bit too dark, you could always use the, what's that? The brown ochre might work, or the Van Dyke brown. Van Dyke brown be a bit dark. Yeah, so brown ochre might work. Sorry, I'm shadowing it here. It's a bit awkward. I'll move my hand around now so you can see. There we go. So basically layering up a little bit more on the very edge and then a bit less towards the centre. Just working around. Nice and relaxing. Yeah, I hope everyone does find colouring relaxing. I think it can be easy to get a little bit worried about making it look perfect a little bit worried about spoiling your book or spoiling a picture, you need to really try not to think like that, because it should just be all about the process, about having fun. You know, I can understand those sorts of feelings, particularly for people who can't afford many books, so it's all you've got, so you don't want to spoil it. Whereas if you can afford lots of copies of a book, then maybe you can be a little bit more reckless, because you know that you can always just buy another one or use the other copy that you've got or whatever. So it does allow you a little bit more freedom, perhaps. But I always think it's worth remembering things that Johanna Basford says about how upset she feels when people don't want to colour in her books because they think they'll spoil them. When she says about how she always thinks of her books as a collaboration between herself and the colourist, and so they're there to be coloured. It's not there to be, the art isn't there to be looked at, it's there to be finished, essentially. So it isn't finished until you've coloured it in. So I think that's a rather good way of thinking about it. I actually find it more devastating if I've worked for a long time on a page and then something happens to it, spill your tea on it or whatever. That's devastating. But there's always a way to rescue things. This is Paynes Grey. Thought I was going to come up with some amazing tip on how to rescue spilt tea on a book. Don't drink your tea by your book. There was an interesting thing I saw the other day. What do you eat when you're colouring? And one of the options was chocolate. I was like, no. Once I got a chocolate smudge on my picture where I did not want there to be a chocolate coloured thing. Never again. I've never eat chocolate. Always dry biscuits that it's just crumbs you can brush off. No chocolate. Keep it away. Anyway, I think we're done for today. I've got one left. So just one little shark left to do. So we'll do that one tomorrow, maybe, depending on when the videos come out, but it won't be long. That as much in succession as I can do, depending on whether I've got planner pages in between. But anyway, for now, thank you for watching. Hope you have a really lovely day and happy colouring.